As we all know that diabetes is one of the major problems faced by people across the world. American Diabetes Association has announced the month of November as National Diabetes Month. And every year across the world, many countries celebrate the World Diabetes Day on November 14th to create more awareness about diabetes. In this month of November, a lot of diabetes awareness campaigns will be organized. On account of this National Diabetes Month, I want to share some interesting facts about the history of diabetes, as to who discovered it and in what ways they did it. Scientists and physicians have been documenting the condition now known as diabetes for thousands of years. From the origins of its discovery to the dramatic breakthroughs in its treatment, many brilliant minds have played a part in the fascinating history of diabetes. The first known mention of diabetes symptoms was in 1552 BC when Hezira, an Egyptian physician, documented frequent urination as a symptom of a mysterious disease that also caused extreme thinness and malnutrition, which is also called emaciation. Also around this time, ancient healers noted that ants seemed to be attracted to the urine of people who had this disease. In 150 AD, the Greek physician Arethaeus described what we now call as diabetes as the melting down of flesh and limbs into urine. From then on, physicians began to gain a better understanding about diabetes. Centuries later, people known as water tasters diagnosed diabetes by tasting the urine of people suspected to have it. If urine tasted sweet, diabetes was diagnosed. To acknowledge this feature, in 1675, the word mellitus, meaning honey, was added to the name diabetes, meaning siphon. It wasn't until the 1800s that scientists developed chemical tests to detect the presence of sugar in the urine. As physicians learned more about diabetes, they began to understand how it could be managed. The first diabetes treatment involved prescribed exercise, often horseback riding, which was thought to relieve excessive urination, which is a prominent symptom of diabetes. In the 1700s and the 1800s, physicians began to realize that dietary changes could help manage diabetes, and they advised their patients to do things like eat only the fat and meat of animals or consume large amounts of sugar. During the Franco-Prussian War of the early 1870s, the French physician Apollinaire Bouchardat noted that his diabetic patients' symptoms improved due to war-related food rationing, and he developed individualized diets as diabetes treatments. This led to the fad diets of the early 1900s, which included the oat cure, potato therapy, and the starvation diet. Even today, physicians are prescribing a healthy diet in combination with regular exercise as a part of diabetes treatment to their patients in order to manage diabetes. Despite these advances, before the discovery of insulin, diabetes inevitably led to premature death. The first big breakthrough that eventually led to the use of insulin to treat diabetes was in 1889 when Oskar Minkowski and Joseph von Meyrig, researchers at the University of Strasbourg in France, showed that the removal of a dog's pancreas could induce diabetes. In the early 1900s, Georg Schwelzer, a German scientist, found that injecting pancreatic extract into patients could help control diabetes. Frederick Bantig, a physician in Ontario, Canada, first had the idea to use insulin to treat diabetes in 1920, and he and his colleagues began trying out his theory in animal experiments. Bantig and his team finally used insulin to successfully treat a diabetic patient in 1922 and were awarded the Nobel Prize in Medicine the following year. Today, insulin is still the primary therapy used to treat diabetes. Other medications have since been developed to help control blood glucose levels. Diabetic patients can now test their blood sugar levels at home and use dietary changes, regular exercise, insulin, and other medications to precisely control their blood glucose levels, thereby reducing their risk of health complications. Hence, in 1991, International Diabetes Association and the World Health Organization together announced Sir Frederick Banting's birthday, the 14th of November, as the World Diabetes Day. I hope you found this episode informative. I'll continue to share more interesting facts about diabetes in my future episodes. Stay tuned, like, share, and subscribe to No Shortcuts to Fitness. Thanks for watching.